You've made choices in your life. Can you tell us, to your mind, how would you define choice?
I think choice means taking responsibility or accountability for what you commit yourself towards. It's also a fair game of trial and error, but I think with every choice, one must be responsible or take onus for the same.
You've achieved so much in becoming a black belt in karate. Can you tell us a little bit how that started?
So the credit actually goes to my parents, because at that point in time when I was just 10, it was 1990. They had a broad sense to put me into a karate dojo, and they felt that it would offer a lot of discipline, as any martial art does. So there was a dojo right next to, pretty close to where I stayed, and it was just convenient in terms of accessibility and things like that. So I got enrolled, and I was there for the first 2 years, but then my school shut and they shifted after the first 2 years. So it was a very long break. And then I think almost towards the end of my college, in my final year degree, is when I realized that the same dojo had come back into Koramangala. So I wasted no time, and I quickly got myself enrolled and restarted my journey. So it was like starting from scratch, and it took me about 8 years to get my black belt. I loved every moment.
It's an unusual sport for a woman,
Sure.
right? And yet you chose it, you chose to pursue it and to excel in it. What do you think drove you to achieve what you have in this?
I think, one's environment plays a very big role in the choices and decisions that they make. And I say this also from the perspective of a therapist. Of course, like I said, the initial credit has to be given to my parents, because they were the first ones to push me and to say, listen, get into something like this. So I know I was getting that support already. And it only encouraged me further, because if I'm getting a go-ahead from somebody who I trusted the most, I knew I was making the right decision going forward as well.
Tell us a little bit more about how something like this develops. I'm saying you become a champion one day. It just doesn't happen like that. There's something that's happening in your mind, in your soul, that's driving you forward. Just want to understand a little bit more about that.
During college years, I was going through my own, finding my place, right? Because we are constantly faced with external influences, and we're trying to find our path socially, emotionally, mentally. And while we are doing that, I think it's, like I said, our environment plays such an important role, right? So I think because of this emotional upheaval that I was also going through, when I found out that my dojo had come back into Koramangala and I didn't want to waste a minute, and I started, it was almost like I found my grounding back. And so karate offers, as any art would, I think, it sets a person into a certain routine, making them look inward so that you make good choices outwardly. That always compliments. And I didn't care, like you said, I didn't care about the grueling bit or the physical aspect. In fact, my sport is a full knockdown sport. So we don't wear any kind of protective gear even when we are sparring. It's, if you're hit, you're hit. But I loved that. And I wanted to get into it so deeply. So I think something kind of just switched, because from all that upheaval, when I found a good grounding and like a base to start from, it was like laying a fresh layer of cement for foundation, so it was like almost starting from there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the process so much that I just dove like straight into it.
And from there, you've gone into mental health. Now, as a professional, you also, help other people, empower them, help them sort their own mental
Sure.
situation out, and help, prepare them to make choices. How did you get into this whole mental health?
In college is when I was first introduced to psychology, and I think I absolutely loved every bit about the subject. And in my final year, we were introduced to a very practical side of a course. It was an external course that was, external organization coming into our college and giving us a talk about how you can put everything in theory here that you learn in college into practice. And I found it really interesting. I took deeper interest in that, and I knew that this was the path I was going to go ahead, because everything, I think I related a lot of my past into using it towards my future, and I just wanted this to be my way forward. There was, while I made many decisions along the way of I wanted to be something different every day, but I think once I was introduced to this, I decided to stick on. And so 2004 was when I began my career in mental health.
Do you find that there's a connection between physical strength and mental strength? And if so, what kind of connection do you see?
So your mind and body, as we all know, is absolutely, I mean, it's so well connected. In fact, a simple thing like, if you're feeling a bit nervous before writing an exam, you want to run to the loo, right? Like there's a direct impact on the body. Your stomach will feel all queasy. So we all know how physical and mental health are so connected. And it's very important to keep both at its best, as best as you can. When you work yourself out physically, it helps in mental stimulation. And when you do things around mindfulness, it encourages you to work your body physically even better. So it's so beautifully connected that way. My choice, my voice, Aukera.